9 o'clock. Time to call the meeting to order. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anyone have anything they'd like to have removed from the agenda? Consent agenda? I do not.
I do not.
I don't either. Next item on the agenda is a special activity. We have an oath of office to administer to Assistant Fire Chief Christopher Combs. Chris, if you would. If you would, raise your right hand and state your name, Christopher Combs, and repeat after me. I, Christopher Combs, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I, Christopher Combs, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
required as an Assistant Fire Chief
required as an Assistant Fire Chief
for Clearcreek Township,
Clearcreek Township,
Clearcreek Township Fire District,
Clearcreek Township Fire District,
Warren County, State of Ohio,
Warren County, State of Ohio,
to which office I have been
to
appointed
which office I have been appointed
according to the law and the best of my ability
according to the law and the best of my ability
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Take your time. We have
Congratulations.
All right, and you guys don't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting, so thanks for coming.
You're welcome to.
I'm gonna do something
Point made.
Oh. That was 3 minutes. Good job, Justin. Nice.
Good morning. Welcome.
Look at that 3-point start.
I know. Was that a great 3-point?
A little aerial here for the
Okay, fiscal business, Russell?
The only note I have is that we do have a tax budget public hearing next meeting, and it's all prepared, it's been sitting out. If there's any questions, let me know.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business. We have resolution 5593, resolution authorizing the township to administrator to incur obligations greater than $10,000 on behalf of the township and dispensary separately.
So we have 2 items in the inter-obligations resolution. The first one is the maintenance agreement for our 8 LifePak, 15 cardiac monitors, and 5 Lucas CPR devices for the fire district at an annual cost of $21,685 for a 5-year spend of $108,500 almost. This 5-year agreement keeps the price from accelerating every year. It's a standard price across a 5-year term. So that's why we do a 5-year term. The second is a nearly $25,000 repair agreement with Southwestern Ohio Services LLC. Got some very, very large traverse cracks open up on the tennis courts over this past winter. Apparently, it's not a phenomenon that's unique to us. It has happened in multiple jurisdictions from what I hear. So that's to repair 3 reseal, resurface, and restripe our tennis courts. It just pertains to the tennis courts, not the pickleball courts. Those are your two current obligations. Happy to answer any questions if you have.
Wouldn't it be a good idea or a bad idea to stripe them with the pickleball lines also?
At the board's discretion, I'm happy to restripe them with the pickleball or without. I know tennis players do not care for the pickleball lines on the courts. However, we have windscreens on the tennis courts, whereas we do not have windscreens yet on the pickleball courts. So occasionally we will see folks that are playing pickleball on the tennis ball courts because of those windscreens, but I'm happy to carry out whatever the direction the board is.
I think they play more because there's not room on the pickleball courts than there
Right.
is one screen.
I mean, so the tennis players just don't care about the extra line. Is that where you're getting cheap? Just checking.
I have this knowledge.
My age, it's hard to keep track of one line, let alone half a dozen out there.
Yeah, I mean, my take is, there are more and more courts being added all over the place. I think we've done a pretty good job by doing what we've done already. I'd rather leave the tennis courts alone, and that the people just want to play on them. And it's usually the novice players that play on the tennis courts anyway, like my daughter. So I think there's enough, we'd get more resentment from traditional tennis players than we would adoration from pickleball players.
Okay.
Because we would then also have to change the net, would we not?
I don't know, they're the same height or not.
That's our resident expert.
I'm not a pickleball player, so.
I
I know the extra lines drive you nuts.
It looks like, I don't know if they are.
I think it is.
I think it is too, but I don't know for sure.
Hold on.
Our law director's money well spent. He's
Yeah.
all over pickleball net.
Exactly.
Jack of all trades.
He's only charging you by the hour right now.
Just cost $200.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Better more than that.
Our assistant, human resource officer.
Are pickleball nets lower than tennis nets?
Live meetings, I love it.
Just a little?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. No, I don't need it. She says they are indeed just a little bit lower.
I mean,
Who's lower, the pickleball? Pickleball.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think that changes. Perfect. Good idea.
So just so we're clear, the tennis courts right now do have dual stripes for pickleball and tennis. So,
they do.
and that's where we want to keep it, or do we want to delete the pickleball one?
Does that confuse you, Chief?
Tennis players hate the extra stripes, but
It's up to you all, especially world-class tennis.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Didn't know Ryan played tennis. Oh, you're talking about John. I'm sorry. I mean.
If they're on there, we haven't had any complaints, John had a complaint. I guess we'll probably have to.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Well, we're striking with
Complaints.
pickleball too.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right, this is our motion. Any questions about 5593? None, is there a motion to approve 5593?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Yay.
Mr. Capps?
Yeah.
Mr. Wayne?
I wasn't supposed to be here anyway, so I was.
Planning and zoning, resolution 5594, resolution to determine the maintenance of the following specific tracts of land constituting nuisance for vegetation heights, dispensing with the second reading.
So your first three are new for this year. The fourth one we've had in years past. It's an over 5 acre chunk. It is in CAUV, but the property owner to the south is meticulous about his lawn, best way to say it, and continues to not like that this grass grows. So what we have before you is putting a picture frame to the north and south, which touches residential property, 75-foot cut. So what is on this property is a pole barn and a field, so, along the submitted area.
Do they actively use that pole barn, or is it just sitting there story? Hard to say.
Yeah, in times past, I've busted them for having junk outside of it. When I was at the site, at this point, there was nothing outside of value, so to speak, so they cleaned up. So I don't know if they put it inside or if they put it in another location.
And what address is that one?
That is it's around the 7,000 block. So it is south of
Okay,
the...
township line.
It's township in 73, it's south of the veterinary hospital. There's the first house that is adjacent to the road. He's got 4 or 5 lots, and this is one of the lots in the back that touches Kinsky.
How can them all?
There's been some trespassing and verbal issues between the neighbors.
See? It could be.
That's what I'm afraid of, that's why we're trying to intervene.
Just walk across the street and shoot him.
Okay.
Oh. My bad.
Well then, with that being said.
I'm just joking.
If there's, since that one's the oddball, I just want to bring your attention, it's the over 5 acres, the others are below.
Very good.
They're not bailing it or anything. It's nothing.
Not at this point in time. I've not seen it bailed historically, though it is part of the CAUV with the rest of his residual parcels.
Everybody's just a little bit behind on the bailing.
Well, I don't know when bailing's going to occur this season.
5 days in a row, no rain.
Yeah.
It should be sometime in September.
Well, so your discretion if you want to give a little bit more time for the entirety, if you want to have a cut of the picture frame.
Well, if we don't believe he's actually bailed it in the past.
I don't recall it being bailed. We put it through as a nuisance 2 years ago, and I had it cut because
I'd
it
probably
was not
follow
cutting.
that procedure. It's probably the same.
I would
Yeah,
assume.
if you look at the picture.
Let's get the ball rolling.
He's not bailing this.
Is there a motion to approve 5590?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wood?
Yeah. Anything else, Jeff?
Not this time.
Okay, moving on to the fire district, I have a recommendation to accept the retirement resignation of Assistant Chief Nathan Irvin, effective August 1st, 2025, after 24 years of service. With respect and appreciation, grateful to move it.
Nathan served us well. He's ready to retire. He was able to retire after 24 years because he had the military time that he bought. So him and his wife are going to travel. One thing, excuse me, his son was in a motorcycle wreck last week. He's doing okay, but it was a pretty bad crash, but luckily he had a helmet on and all his protective gear, but he broke his leg and his wrist, and he's going to be in a wheelchair for a few weeks. So keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers.
Retirement. No, good. So they're gonna travel, good.
Sounds like they're going to take care of their boy for a little bit.
Yeah, I think I heard, I was talking to him somewhere, I think they're even talking about buying a house in Florida.
Texas. Yeah, eventually that's the long thing. Their 2 boys are in Charleston, South Carolina, and eventually they all want to end up in Texas. That's where his wife's from.
Okay. Good for them. Okay, is there a motion to accept this resignation from Nathan Irvin?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And then item number 2, under the fire district, I have a discussion of plans and installation of a safe haven baby box at Fire Station 20.
So this has been a ongoing project. I asked Chief Cox to stick around. He's spearheading this project. So we're now to a point where we've got a decent or an accurate dollar figure of what it's going to cost going forward. There's still a few things we need to button up with the contract and things from KPF. If you read through, it talks about, got a Deerfield Township thing. They just did this for Deerfield Township, so we just kind of borrowed some of that. So as long as we get approval from the board to move forward, then we'll start handling all that going forward. But it was a little bit of a sticker shock to be a little north of $80,000 for the whole project. Fortunately, we do have the faith-based community and our community is very excited about this, so they want to do some fundraising and think they'll be able to raise the funds to cover the costs and such. But wanted to bring forward.
I would suggest, this is a lot of icing on the cake for the Congress group. Maybe give them an opportunity to sharpen their pencils as far as a donation or a community thank you for the business that we've given them for the past couple, 3 years.
Sure.
Well, I think we have talked about this for a while. Now we've got doesn't look a big project. That's more than I expected, but I don't know why I expected anything.
Yeah.
I haven't done one of these.
All I knew was the box was about 15,000 for the box. I didn't foresee the installation, but there's a lot of, for this being,
Oh, yeah.
such a important thing, there's a lot of regulations, a lot of things from the state of Ohio. The Department of Health that requires you to do a number of things when you do that. So luckily it's not as bad as it was. The last General Assembly kind of fixed it a little bit to make it a little bit more user friendly. But yeah, the installation cost was a little surprising.
Okay. Is there a motion to direct the fire department to proceed with their plans of the Safe Haven baby box?
So moved.
The second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yeah.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wood?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people who'd be pretty excited when that gets in. Could you, anything else from the fire district at this time? Police department, we have a recommendation to accept, the following generous donations to benefit Safety Town. $500 from Sandy's Towing, $200 from Essential Yoga and Wellness LLC, $100 from Conservatives for Michelle Tesca. Anybody have any questions of any of those donations? Is there a motion to accept these donations?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yeah.
Mr. Wood?
Yeah. And we also have a recommendation to make a conditional offer of probationary employment to Aaron Ledford as a police officer pursuant to the first offer pre-employment testing and background at the contractual rate for a senior police officer, $42.47 an hour. Chief, can you tell us about that?
Aaron was with us about 10 years ago for a couple of years as a part-time officer. We didn't have any vacancies. So he moved on to another police department to get a full-time job. And he had contacted us maybe a year ago, starting to talk about the possibility of coming back. And I met with him last week, and he is saying he'd like to come back to our police department full-time. This would fill the vacancy we currently have open.
Where did he go?
This was Monroe Police Department. Monroe. They don't know he's looking, but
Is there a motion to make a probationary employment offer to Aaron Ledford?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yeah.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wood?
Yeah. And also, we have a discussion of appropriate mileage and resolution of necessity to anticipate police. Matt?
Yeah, so in your email, we have put the packet, you see the materials that I printed out for you here, and did several demonstrations of millage with the police levy, developing some options of what's appropriate and what's may fall short of making it last for at least 10 years. The important caveat for this, and I put that in the email, and I want the board to understand this, that no matter what the option is, there are some staffing assumptions that are not reality today. It is adding staff incrementally through a 4-year period. That's what all of these charts demonstrate. So at the end of the day, the appropriate village and the appropriate staffing for the police department is at the pleasure of this board. Any tweaks to any staffing recommendations will have an impact positively or negatively on these demonstrations that you see here. So if you look at the top of the staffing list that you were given is the current staffing, and then in 2026 it would be jumping 4 positions, one of which would be adding a operations lieutenant as well as a school resource officer or a community school resource / community resource officer, as well as 1 patrol, I believe, 2 patrol, excuse me. And then the staffing would go up 1 in 2027 and 1 more in 2028. So any deferrals of staffing will have an impact on the financial projection that you see in front of you. We can see that the 1.5 mil levy appears that it would not be sufficient. In fact, that throws it into a negative fund balance just in a matter of about 5 years. So 2031, it would already go into a negative balance. 2 mil levy stretches it out a little bit further. You don't go into a negative fund balance until after 2035. 2.25 stretches it out even a little bit further. And then the 2.5 mil levy would still put the fund balance firmly into the positive, possibly too much, based on the revenues and the projections of carryovers. Again, the auditor and the tax commission doesn't want to see robust carryovers from year to year. And, conservatives, I'm sure that this would appreciate that. But you got to strike that balance between adequately protecting the future of the services we provide the citizens versus asking for too much and carrying too much funds. So, with that, I'll let the police chief speak to anything he'd like to, avail ourselves for any questions.
The previous levies that were passed decades ago, in those levies was a guarantee you'd have 2 officers on the street at all times. Several years ago, we moved to a 3-officer type of formula out there, 1 being a supervisor, 1 being north, 1 being south. If you have a supervisor tied up working a beat, it's hard for him to supervise. So the board allowed me several years ago to move to additional sergeants to help accommodate that. So what this staffing level would do is we would look to maintain that 3 officer per shift on duty. It would get us to that ability to do that. The township has grown enough and issues enough that seems to be an ability to accommodate the problems that are going on now, plus provide supervision of the liability of the issues and keep that going the way it is. So we would kind of move to that model, but I've bled the turnip as much as I can here on the existing funds. So the immediate hiring of some people over the 3-4 year period would be just to that, to shore up that 3-person on shift per model. Then there's no additional look at adding people after that until about the year 8 or 9 or 10, somewhere in there. I did leave the door open for next chief, just in case after a 10-year period that it's grown enough that they may have to add to each of those shifts an additional person. So really the next 3 or 4 years of that would be just to keep us going where we're at. We can't always guarantee 3 under the manpower we have. I think this will get us there to do that. So that's the initial fix, and the to the public would be that we're going to have 3 on per shift, not 2, to accommodate their calls. So no fluff in the middle. It accommodates some hardware throughout the years. Anytime you add 3 personnel, you usually have 1 vehicle to accommodate that 24-hour shift. So the budget takes into that account as far as hardware. Other than that, just really no additional fluff, other than just everything is increasing in price. Luckily we got the building at a pretty cheap interest rate. Those payments are built into there. We've been able to make, I think we're in year 5 of making payments on that. But it is becoming troublesome to make all that work with where we're at now as far as that. So the necessity is to accommodate the increased employee cost and so forth to get us there. And then just to keep that right size. When I got here 18 years ago, I think we've about doubled the police department. This would not quite double it in the next 10 years. But the immediate push for the personnel is just to continue what we've already got going on. And then a further look down the road with the possibility that after 10 years, somebody else may need to add some personnel to accommodate the population increase that we have. And we're getting pretty close to surpassing the city in population, I think, from what I'm hearing. So we don't have the commercial, but we will have rooftops to deal with and the stuff that goes along with that. So we're policing pretty similar population level. I think we've got 17 people. This would bring it to about 21. I think the city has almost 30 that they're policing their city with on the same population, minus out the commercial areas. So it's a slow growth, but to keep maintaining where we're at now is what we need. So.
What are we talking about right now? Have we discussed anything with you talked to Gary?
So they're gonna have nothing also.
There's a bond for our operating, but it's still,
How much what are they looking?
I honestly do not know. It's for the construction on the Easton property.
Chief, could you kind of outline the difference or the addition going from one lieutenant to administrative lieutenant and operations lieutenant? What roles are they going to play? How is this different from what we've got?
The aspect of CLIA and a new thing in Ohio where they have a similar program. That similar program in Ohio is now being attached to any grants. So we've got one sergeant that's kind of trying to do that job now, plus work the street and find days that we can pull him to work on that. It is a very labor-intensive time keeping those certifications going. So the extra lieutenant would be an administrative type person to deal with all the granting and the two certification programs and handle that office stuff. The other lieutenant would go back to just control lieutenant carrying the responsibility for all three shifts, plus the other ancillary SWAT team guys and all that kind of stuff. So that would be kind of the difference in that. Currently, I'm absorbing some of that stuff. Wally's trying to do it. We've got a sergeant trying to help. So just make that a little cleaner process to do that. And the SRO is something we had talked about before. We know that 5 Points was vacated by the city. That was in there just as a look to see if that's a responsibility that the trustees would like us to pick up going into the future. And that position would be fluid as to whether or not you all have interest in doing that.
So these numbers would be just in case that's the way we go, kind of.
Right, and that would be us shouldering the burden of 100% of that. And obviously, if the school was wanting to do something, we would negotiate something there. We are looking at some granting programs to bring into the trustees here soon. One of those would maybe cover an SRO portion of their salary for 3 years. So we are looking at whether or not that would be a feasibility. If you all have some interest in looking at adding the SRO type position, and if the school wants that. If they don't want it, or you don't want it, then obviously that can be dropped from the budget.
They want it.
No doubt about that.
Very clear that they want it.
And this would be in addition to or what are we doing providing for the career center right now?
The Career Center has a deal with the Sheriff's Department that was done many, many years ago under one of the previous sheriffs. I know that the previous sheriff told me that he was locked into the issue where they charged them nothing to be down there. So the Career Center is going to make a move away from that. They're getting to be there for free every day. In alternative school, we have had somebody down there in a quasi-SRO position, but it's been fully funded by the school. The alternative school is moving out of the township after this school year, so it's going to be disbanded, I understand.
Just disbanding altogether?
Yeah, and moving students to other locations, yeah.
Pretty bad.
I can't imagine what they're going to do with that group.
They're going south someplace, some of the schools I've heard are already pulling out because they don't want to send kids that far. I don't know, alternatively, I think Middletown has quite a few in there, and they were talking about doing something in-house in Middletown now. So I know there's been some gears turning on it, I don't know all the insides, but they closed the doors and that'll be it, so.
Okay. So, with the 1.5 mil levy for the average home in Clearcreek Township, and also for the 2.5 mil, what's the estimated revenue for those additional revenue, additional taxes? Have we looked at that?
$35 per $100,000 of value, Russ?
Yeah, it's on the spreadsheet, I can't remember.
No, if I print it out for
$35. How often?
For 100,000.
For 100,000. Per year.
Per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our average valuation is 209.
Not sure if we went over $1 billion worth of valuations a couple of years ago.
Probably more
And
like
this would be
70
additional
now,
from what you're paying
evaluated.
now.
Yes, it would be additional to that.
Not 200, 2 million, or 200?
200. The average.
The average. It's not too bad.
No.
Police department as we grow. And we know it's been a long time, I know you sent me this figure, but I don't have
It's over $90 a year on average.
Increase.
I'll send you an email after the meeting too.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the reevaluation, but when we were comparing the fire services, there was a pretty substantial valuation difference was the difference. That our homes were more valuable in the township than the city. Split the difference, you go 2 million.
Well, I was looking at
In year 10, we could read, I mean, we're still in the black.
Conferences of man, before we pull the trigger on anything, I'd like to just have a comparison of what numbers we have compared to other townships, other jurisdictions, just to verify, hey, we're doing well, or where we stand with how we're using our resources.
that's a good idea. I don't know, do we have anybody in Warren County that matches up to us in size? I mean, Deerfield's a much bigger, Hamilton Township.
Deerfield's a little bit of a different animal since they contract.
Yeah, they
with the
contract
sheriff's
with the
office.
sheriff. That's the challenge.
Hamilton Township would probably be the closest comp in the county for us. whole lot of commercial, but there's been an explosion of commercial development in that town in the last 20 years, so no doubt about that. But still, if you're looking for an apples to apples, Hamptown would probably be our closest.
Well, why don't you, spend a little time putting something together to be contested? Because, you know, I hate to go, we've never been in a situation where we have these levies every 2 or 3, or even 5 years, and that's worked out very well for us, and I know people appreciate that. And when you look at a carryover of $500,000 after 10 years on a 10-year loan. If we miss past the left, we're in trouble.
Yeah, you're gonna have to find new money in 2035 if you go for a 2 mil levy, and carry out the state.
That scares me a little bit.
But none of us care. We're gonna be. Ed will be, but Steve.
I don't think so. I'd like to be able to live to that long. I got other things in mind, but I'm not just being here.
Somebody's got to plow the street,
Right.
I think it's gonna be useful just so we can say, hey, this is why.
Yeah, no, and I think that'll be part of the marketing campaign of it too. I mean, we'll show that we haven't asked for new money in 25, 30 years, and, I mean, that's the process. It's the same thing we did with fire. I mean, we've been smart with our money for a long time. That
We
is
should
not.
underscore the fact too that the police building up there was, as far as cash goes, we used a lot of the ARPA money.
Sure.
Pay for that. Yes, we did right size it, it's larger than we needed today, but that's the wise and prudent thing to do.
Yeah.
And that needs to be part of the message as well.
Sure.
Okay, I'll pull those comps together and get it to the board so you can compare apples to apples. Yeah, please.
It just takes a lot of money. Incredible.
Okay.
Anybody have any other discussion or comments they'd like to ask of the police department or Matt about the levy? Okay. We'll wait on more to come from Matt. And any information you can give us, John, that help us be zeroed in on an area and amount. I mean, and tell us what you think.
I had an old comparison I did years ago. I could pull that back out and refresh that. If my memory serves me correctly, we were on the lower end of police personnel in the comparables.
Yeah.
We've been policing with less people for years.
Oh, yeah.
Our hardware cruisers, we were on the lower end of that. Calls for service, I think I did a comparison with Springboro. Our officers handle more calls for service per officer than the city does. So they have a larger workload than the city. So I'll refresh all that and get it to Mr. Clark so he can get it to you all.
That'd be great. Thank you. Road department. All quiet?
Just putting down a lot of matches. Yeah.
When does the paving start?
Soon. I did get the K2 starts 1st of August, so they're wrapping up the job and they're gonna come here next for paving.
The quarter horses. It's just time.
So, I've forgotten that.
You tell her to have his house done clean and very well, that rock job on the road too.
Yeah.
What's the date? Yeah, I've got that down, that we're supposed to be
10.
at the county. June 10th, not him. Okay. Anything else, Ryan?
That's it at this time, sir.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yeah.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay. Anything else under staff anything under staff updates?
At this time, remember the Gulf Valley, if you're anticipated to play, I don't know that if didn't play plan, Jason would do a 10 play as
Yeah,
well.
I gotta go get my golf tomorrow.
I think,
Get there.
Get the dust them off.
Steve Agenbro will be the team captain as he was last year, so he can handle any logistical questions that the chamber might have. And I believe Officer Brandenburg is playing as well.
Good.
And what days that?
I'm riding with Aiden Road. Either call you get Reggie. Sorry.
Careful, you rear ends cars.
That's why I'm riding with Steve.
I believe it's,
You better be
I believe it's
back.
Friday, May 30th.
Yeah, it's this Friday.
May 30th.
Yeah, this Friday.
8 a.m., right?
Shotgun start, yeah.
I haven't got the ball yet this year, so let the adventures begin.
Could be an adventure.
They, hopefully good that first round to pick up your back.
That's right. If I can take it back, I can get it through. Checo, what do you got, 30 rounds yet this year? 35?
One. I'm done playing. It's not fun. Not fun. Being out there, it's not fun.
No, that's a real shot in the arm.
Oh, sorry. I mean, that's what, yeah, I don't like playing it.
Nothing else that boosts my...
No,
boosts my performance.
I'm not as good once as you ever were.
That's right.
I think you said that right, too.
Fair enough.
You said exactly what you meant.
I think I'd rather go there. I'd rather go straight to tennis courts and pickleball. Fine, play golf now.
Okay, anything else, anybody have anything to bring up on that note? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yeah, right.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
All right.